Good evening. So here we are on my nightly musings. I'm in my portable studio this time, in my car. We've just got home. It's about nearly midnight, and reflecting on the day and reflecting on the Piers Taylor interview, which was just been released on the Business of Architecture. Go and check it out. And it's been causing a bit of a stir. It's been causing a bit of, like, people were asking me, when's it going to come out? When's it going to come out? And Piers is such a wonderful advocate for architecture. He speaks so eloquently and can articulate such powerful points. And also, I think what was really refreshing is that he is demonstrating a new form of architecture practice that is diversified, it's independent, it's low risk, it kind of blurs the boundaries between the distinction of play and of work. And I think that is why we start businesses. A business, and a business as a legal entity, as an operating entity, or as a sort of a thing that you might describe what is its purpose for. Its purpose is to make money and to make profit. So that's the kind of cold, harsh, capitalist explanation of it. But ultimately, it's a vehicle for human beings. And human beings are the ones that create businesses. And human beings are the ones that control them and direct them and steer them into the right positions. And when we start a business, yes, the business itself has to make money. It needs to be making profit in order for it to survive, operate, and grow. That's just part of the natural function of it. But the reason of being for a business is very much up to us. And we don't create businesses for them to consume us. We build businesses for them to support our lifestyles. And for many of us and many architects, when you start up a business, it's because there is an innate desire to be creative, there's a will to want to be independent, and there's ultimately some form of search of freedom. Or I don't know. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of reasons why people set up their own practices. But what was interesting with Piers was that he had gone through this process of once operating a larger practice, and they were doing great work and it was good, but then the financial recession hit, and it actually was a natural culling, if you like. It's a bit of a harsh word, but it kind of naturally made the business contract. And in that contraction was this opportunity and a space for reflection, and a period where Piers was able to kind of get reconnected to what was important to him in a business and in a lifestyle, and readdress that and redirect that. And again, his conversations about when he's sharing about Glenn Murcott, and I've told stories about Glenn Murcott before, about how he's the solitary worker and he didn't have a mobile phone and he's very difficult to get hold of, and he'd make his clients wait for 5 years, and Piers was explaining how he had these kind of incredibly low overheads so that he could only work on the projects that he wanted to work on. And I think that's not for everybody. That is not for everybody. And I'm full on for people going and growing massive practices and making corporations and all that kind of stuff. But what's really, as Piers called it, the dignity of that was that it was just very authentic to him, and he had designed his lifestyle, and the business was fulfilling on his passions and his interests. It wasn't like an out of control entity. It was something that was deeply aligned, and that the business was just a natural expression of those things that were important. And if you read a bit about Glenn Murcott, he's a kind of solitary figure, this kind of romantic relationship with the landscape. And I remember Rob Freen was saying to me that architects tend to fetishize him a lot. But there's a kind of poetic romance about this kind of way of practicing, and architecture is very enjoyable like that. And for me, like my own personal experience of architecture is I want to, you know, I'm in the process of I want to be doing more projects that are really, really deeply important to me. And that's meant that I've had to diversify. And do other things and express architecture in another way and move into digital marketing and online and virtual communities and create virtual audiences, because I believe this is the new kind of orchestration of space, is online, is on the internet, and it's only going to become more and more deeply, we're going to become more and more deeply integrated with this, and then that will have an impact on the visceral and on our physical space. So, long, thinking, connectedness, interesting. Love to hear your thoughts on all of that. My head's buzzing. I'm super excited about it. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.